tour of China is more than a tour. It's a grand pilgrimage through a civilization that has kept its basic structure and philosophy intact for nearly 5,000 years. China is physically vast. It's also a land of vividly contrasting terrain and climates. The most stunning feature of China, however, is its population of slightly over 1 billion people. Arriving in China, you encounter a society that represents the definitions of economics taken to their extremes. Vastly unlimited demands, severely limited resources. It is the unremitting human struggle that is the most challenging and yet the most fascinating. To sum up the biggest achievement of all, they learn to feed 1 billion people. In recent years, the government has also built an industrial base and an infrastructure, transport, public housing and communications, which lifted the nation out of the hopelessness and grinding poverty of the violent post-revolutionary years. And in some areas, especially in the tourist industry, things have changed so fast that many of the fundamental physical and social inadequacies will improve or disappear altogether as the country moves further into the 1990s. Just as China is physically vast, traveling in China is also a challenge. A good compromise is to visit the miniature city in Shenzhen. By spending a few hours in this park, one can actually see the whole of China in these miniature models. China's capital, Beijing, is a city of broad ceremonial thoroughfares and monumental architecture. Tiananmen Square and the modern revolutionary monuments of Beijing, the great public hall of monuments to the people's heroes, and the Chairman Mao Memorial Hall lie in the center of the city. Beijing's main boulevards and back streets follow a neat and very convenient chessboard grid. The entire metropolis center of the Forbidden City is also known as Gugong. Covering over 100 hectares, this was once the residence of the emperors of China. Built for the third Ming Emperor Yongle in the first half of the 15th century, the Forbidden City took 2,000 men and 14 years to complete. Even 200 years ago, it meant death for ordinary citizens to enter the Forbidden City. However, today it's one of the principal tourist attractions of Beijing. Dragons are a recurrent motif of the superb architecture that exists throughout the Forbidden City. The Chinese believed that dragons were responsible for rainfall, and therefore accorded these mythical monsters with great respect, as rainfall was so necessary for cultivating crops. The most architecturally inspiring and finest surviving example of Ming architecture in all of China is the Temple of Heaven, Tiantan. Unlike the palaces of the Forbidden City, it was designed and built for the gods. Round, with 3 roofs of glazed blue tiles, the temple stands over 37 meters high on its marble terrace and was built of wood without using any nails. It was here that the emperor prayed to the gods for good harvests and offered sacrifices to the heavens. Around this hall, built in 1830, stands the remarkable Whispering or Echo Wall, a circular wall with an acoustic magic, where, if you speak to the smooth stonework, you can telegraph your voice to someone standing at another point of the wall some distance away. Beihai Park, which was the site of Kublai Khan's Grand Palace, and now features the distinctive White Dragon and the Temple of Everlasting Peace. Both were built on an islet in Beihai Lake in 1651 in honor of the visiting Dalai Lama. Qing Dynasty Summer Retreat, the Summer Palace. It's about 12 kilometers northwest of the city center. It was torn apart by an Anglo-French force in 1880 and damaged again by foreign troops in the Boxer Rebellion in 1900. Each time, the Empress Dowager Cixi had the palace rebuilt using vast sums of money which had been set aside for expanding the Chinese Navy. Nowadays, it's a public recreational spot in Beijing, lining the shore of Lake Kunming. The palace features a splendid garden, pavilions, mansions, temples and bridges, and the remarkable long corridor, a 7,000 meters long covered gallery full of frescoes with mythical themes. Each pillar and beam carries a different colorful drawing from the rest. And in the lake itself, there is the ultimate in imperial kitsch, the Empress's white marble paddle steamboat. In wintertime, the lake is the place to go for one of Beijing's favorite seasonal recreations, ice skating. Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall is not far from the Summer Palace and is worth a visit for the symbol that is now representative of the chaotic Republican era after the collapse of the Qing dynasty. Ming tombs. At Sishenling are the tombs of 13 of the 16 Ming emperors. But nowadays they are virtually empty of relics and artwork. The magnificent buildings and relics reflecting the former status and charm were lost during the revolutionary years. Instead, today the tombs are surrounded by tourist restaurants, tea gardens, and souvenir stores. The greatest man-made barrier in the world, the only concrete sign of human existence which can be seen from outer space with the naked eye. The Great Wall of China remains the largest construction built by man. Parts of the wall were built as early as the 5th century. The Great Wall has deservedly been called the largest graveyard in the world. In 1 year alone, the Emperor Qin Shi Huang conscripted 300,000 soldiers and 500,000 civilians to build the wall. Chengde is 250 kilometers northwest of Beijing. It's the biggest garden palace complex in China, covering an area the size of the Forbidden City and Summer Palace. It's also called Pishe Shanchuan from the time when Emperor Kangxi transformed it into his imperial summer retreat, attracted by the magnificent surrounding natural beauty and hot springs. The central palace, now a museum, is in reasonable shape after so many years. This park took 87 years to complete. The other remaining palaces are the Misty Rain Mansion, the Pine and Cane Studios, and the East Palace. Of them all, only 5 out of the original 11 remain standing, and it still presents a striking reminder of the power and artistry of the dynasty age. Puning Temple, featuring a beautiful 5-story Mahayana chamber, houses a wooden Buddha image measuring 22 meters high. Pula Temple has a main building which is almost a carbon copy of the Temple of Prayer and Good Harvest in Beijing. Inside the temple house is a 3-dimensional mandala, at the center of which is set a bronze sculpture of the Maitreya Buddha. Just about every area of tourist interest is now open for travelers. Xian, in the central north of China, can be reached by air from most parts of the country. There are 2 main aspects to sightseeing in Xian, the city itself and the cultural attractions of the Ming and Qing dynasties. The Provincial Museum, lying close to the old city's south gate, is part of an old Confucian temple. In During the high summer season, it's packed with tour groups who make every effort to see the mausoleum's terracotta army. The emperor had an army of the life-size soldiers and horses made to be buried in trenches near him. The packed ranks of some 6,000 life-size terracotta warriors fulfilled their task. The tomb remains untouched by the People's Republic until today. Dayan Pagodas was built to honor the Buddhist monk Xuanzang, who first brought the Buddhist scriptures from India to China. Luoyang was the founding center of Buddhism in China. It was also the imperial capital of 10 dynasties, until it was destroyed by the armies of the northern Jing reign in the 12th century. It houses the most magnificent sites of no fewer than 1,300 Buddhist temples. The Longmen Grotto's Dragon Gate was dug and carved around the year 493 in the time of the Northern Wei, and it was added to in the Tang dynasty. More than 100,000 sculptured images, 40 stone towers, and 3,600 stone carvings can be found along the cliff face overlooking the Yi River. It took 400 years to complete. The two most impressive galleries are the Pingyang Caves at the entrance to the complex and the Fengxian Cave, which is now the open-air grotto. Built in the Tang era, it's dominated by 9 huge Buddha statues, the biggest of them 18 meters high. Another attraction of Luoyang is the Guangkong Temple. This temple was built to honor the hero Guangkong, who fought for the country. His weapon, which is called Guangkong's sword, is still found in this temple. Baima Temple was built 1900 years ago and is believed to be the first temple in China. This temple has been renovated many times, and standing guard at the side of the temple are 2 colored stone notices. Once a poor nondescript port on the Yangtze River, Nanjing has grown and flourished over the years to become the cultural and administrative capital of Jiangsu province. It has a long and significant history dating back to 475 BC in the time of the Warring States. Nanjing was once the old southern capital of the dynastic age. Further west from the city, the home of the Sun Yat-sen Memorial maintains much of its old refinement and charm. Much of Nanjing's most interesting life and shopping are found in Zhongzhen roads. The city offers an interesting stroll for tourists to shop and a chance to watch the Chinese at play. Another attraction in Nanjing is the Linggu Park, the home of the Sun Yat-sen Memorial. The tomb of the Ming Emperor Hongwu, Plum Blossom Hill, and the Linggu Temple and Pagoda are also open to tourists. Nanjing Bridge is the longest bridge in China. In the early 1960s, it took huge sums of money and hard labor to build. It runs across the Grand Canal. These landscaped works of art, designed for harmony, meditation, and tranquility, are the pride and joy of Suzhou. Many of them were built in the Ming reign, and at one stage there were about 100 of these landscaped gardens built for court officers scattered all over the city. Today only 6 remain, and these are preserved for posterity. This is one of the most famous religious institutions in China, with its soaring, beautifully decorated 9 stories pagoda, North Temple. It's the oldest surviving Buddhist temple, built 1700 years ago, and the 72 meters high brick and wood pagoda was one of the first created south of the Yangtze River. The most fascinating garden is Wang Shi, Garden of the Master of the Nets. It's about half a hectare in size, but somehow its landscape, halls, pavilions and ponds have been artfully arranged to give the illusion of greater space. The industrial and manufacturing giant of China. Shanghai has little to show except its early antique skyline. It's a city where the neon signs that glow at night here and there along the street show something of what the city was like in the pre-war boom. Another attraction is a 3.5-hour cruise on the Huanggu, beautiful full-sail junks tacking under the huge hulls of the modern container port. On the religious side, Shanghai offers the Jade Buddha Temple. It was originally founded in 1882, featuring a good collection of gilded Buddha figures, sculptures and paintings representing the major dynasties as far back as the time of the 7th century. Like Suzhou, Hangzhou rose to be a flourishing trading center, key to food supply and hub of the rich silk industry. Today, as in the past, Hangzhou is famous for its recreational spot in West Lake off Jingjiang River. This is a man-made lagoon formed in the 8th century by the emperor. Surrounding the lake are beautiful landscapes and decorated palaces, halls, temples, pavilions and parks. Lingyi Temple of Inspired Seclusion, was originally built in 326. It was destroyed and rebuilt about 16 times through the civil wars. It's managed to survive in a Qing dynasty renovated form with an impressive array of Buddhist relics. Up in the hills, you can also find the Dragon Wall Temple and a tea house famous for its delicious Hangzhou green tea. Some more picturesque scenery that has recently become a very popular destination for holidaymakers is the Yellow Mountain, Huangshan. The pointed peak rises to a height of 1,825 meters or more, and the bizarre shapes of the numerous umbrella pines are features of this area. In the morning, they are often wreathed in the gauze-like mists which often inspired Chinese poets or landscape painters. Clinging perilously to craggy and precipitous rock faces, some of them at least are known to be over a few thousand years old. A convenient cable car ride brings you to the top, and you can enjoy the scenic beauty. It's a rare chance to see Huangshan in 4 different seasons, and it has always been the inspiration of poets. Kunming is situated in Yunnan province. This is a big, wide open and warm city with a lot of character. This place is a kind of Chinese Golden Triangle, bordering Burma, Laos and Vietnam. It shares 4 main rivers with these neighboring states, including the Mekong. Daguan Park is at the northern part of the city, and from here a boat cruise will take you under the steep and risky hillsides which are called Sleeping Beauty. Lake Dian is a rewarding excursion as it combines physical exercise, fresh air, and cultural interest. Everyone who goes to Kunming goes to the stone forest, Guilin, a bizarre mushroom patch of fungus-shaped grey rocks that have been formed and sculpted by two natural forces, the Earth's crust pushing upward and the wind and rain eroding the bared limestone outcrops. Although the stone forest is a remarkable spectacle, an even more fascinating attraction is found at the hilltop called Drum Rock. Guilin, a sprawling city of 300,000 people, has become justly famous for its Li River scenery and the surrounding necklace of Karset hills. Chinese culture abounds with literary superlatives, paintings, poems, and other artworks that all attempt to express the picturesque beauty of Guilin scenery. On the Li River, fishermen's sampans made of slightly curved bamboo poles lashed together are much more stable and practical than they look. This is the waterway that connects Guilin with the port of Guangzhou in the south. One of the most spectacular trips in China is the journey by boat downstream from Guilin to the market town of Yangzhou. There is an old Chinese saying, "The scenery of Guilin is the best under heaven, but that of Yangzhou is even better." The Karset landmark in and around Guilin is a well-landscaped strolling spot with gardens and natural hump-backed rock formations. To visit Tibet is to step through a portal from the materialism of the modern age to a society which is still ruled by deep medieval spiritual impulses. The Tibetan people are believed to be a mixed Mongoloid Turkic breed, and they were very much a cultural mystery until they embraced Buddhism in the 7th century and developed a written language. Tibet has a climate in which the temperature can fall to freezing point on mountainsides and even plunge to minus 40 degrees Celsius at the height of summer. Today it is the most coveted of all the tourist drawing cards in China, the place where almost every traveler wants to go. Potala Palace dominates all cultural sightseeing in Lhasa. It's such a magnificent structure that it takes days to study it from all angles. The Potala was built by the 5th Dalai Lama. The western half of the Potala is the Red Palace, the religious center, and it's packed with chapels, shrines, golden stupas, and vast libraries full of Buddhist scriptures. Guangzhou lies on the delta of the Pearl River, a major waterway that brings ocean shipping right to the city's waterfront. Today, Guangzhou is China's most modern and progressive city. Its Cantonese-speaking population of 5 million living with capitalized Hong Kong virtually on their doorstep. For refreshment, Guangzhou Memorial Garden is a pleasant garden set among artificial landscape. There's an orchard park in a landscape setting where you can view more than 1,000 species of flower. In this park, every morning, the residents of Guangzhou exercise for better health. As the climate varies, so does the cuisine. Rice and rice noodles, buns and prawn-stuffed wontons in the south, heavier wheat breads, flour noodles and meat dumplings in the north. Regional tastes and the innovations of the imperial kitchens have combined to give Chinese cooking 3 distinctive characters: decoration, smell, and taste.